for our next speaker. She will be discussing the process or the digitization process that they did for the Botanical Herbarium database. So again, to introduce our next speaker, I would call on Miss Julienne.
Yes, our next presentation is From Physical to Digital, the Botanical Herbarium Database. Challenges, Opportunities, and Perspective. And our speaker for today is Ma'am Michelle Alejado San Pascual. She is currently University Research 1 of the Botanical Herbarium at the UPLB Museum of Natural History, where she also serves as the coordinator for linkages. She's actively involved in the digitization projects implemented by the museum. She was one of the project staff of the biodiversity information from the Asia-funded project, and she continues the study leadership. Sorry for the interruption. She was one of the project staff of the biodiversity information for Asia-funded project, and she continues the study leadership of a UPLB basic research funded project. Ma'am Michelle recently completed the DigBio Digitization Academy course on Introduction to Biodiversity Specimen Digitization. May I call on Ma'am Michelle Alejado San Pascual?
Thank you, Julian, for that very kind introduction. So good morning, everyone. Today, I will share with you my presentation, From Physical to Digital, the Botanical Herbarium Database, Challenges, Opportunities, and Perspectives. So I will be the presenter for today, but I would also like to acknowledge Mr. Florante A. Cruz, our University Extension Specialist, Associate Professor Annalie S. Hadsal, our Curator for Orchids and Epiphytes, and Mr. Jun Jeff Latayan, our Museum Technician. So this presentation and this activity won't be possible without their support. So presented today, September 30, 2022. So for the content of my presentation, I will be discussing the definition and brief information about herbaria, list of Philippine herbaria. I will also discuss about brief introduction on Botanical Herbarium, the year 1 results of the Botanical Herbarium database since we launched it last year, and the suggested workflow. And of course, to answer the title of my presentation, I will also present to you the challenges, opportunities, and perspectives. So many people seem to be under the mistaken impression that a herbarium is a place where herbs are grown. Actually, an herbarium is a collection of plant specimens preserved, labeled, and stored in an organized manner that facilitates access. So you can think of it as a library of dried plant specimens used for both education and research. The practice of collecting dried plants mounted on paper and eventually it was spread over Europe by his student was first started by Luca Ghini. He's an Italian physician and botanist, and the oldest extant herbarium that is located in Rome was established by his student Gerardo Sibo. The term herbarium, which refers to a collection of dried and pressed plants, were first coined by Joseph Tournefort. He is a French physician and botanist. As you can see, this photo, the earliest herbaria sheets of pressed and mounted plants were bound into books. Okay, let's see my screen. For a second. And it was Carolus Linnaeus who kept his specimens unbound, as you can see in this photograph. So he constructed a specialized cabinet with narrow vertical rows of shelves to store stocks of herbarium sheets. So this is what you can see now in most of the herbaria. The word herbarium was originally used to refer to a book about medicinal plants. The herbaria were built and maintained by physicians, and most of whom are also botanists. So they studied and relied upon plants as a means of treating illness. The largest herbaria in the world, which contains 7 to 9.5 million specimens, are located in Paris, in England, in USA, and in Russia. So imagine niyo, pag may sakit kayo noon, ang dadalhin nyo yung herbarium sheet. So ngayon na lang, pag may sakit kayo, dalhin nyo lang po yung reseta ng doktor nyo. Tapos punta na lang po kayo sa Mercury o sa kung saan piling drugstore ang inyo pupuntahan. So herbarium specimens are used to document plant diversity of a particular geographic region. They're also used as reference for identification. So here in the UPLB Museum of Natural History, as was discussed earlier, we have this biological specimen identification. So we cater this not only for undergraduate and graduate thesis of UPLB students, but also to other non-UPLB students. So we have clients to those other places like grade 7 for their investigatory project. Herbaria are also source of information about plant species. So if you want to check the habitat or the morphological characteristic of your desired species, you can go to an herbaria. It is also the validation or documentation of scientific observations. So these are the importance of herbaria. So there are approximately 3,000 herbaria in approximately 165 countries, which has an accumulated of about approximately 350 million specimens. So if you want to check the herbaria that I've mentioned, there's a world catalog of public herbaria. So that's Index Herbarium, and it is provided on this link. This one. So each herbarium in Index Herbarium is assigned an official code. So that is used as standard for referring to the institution and its specimen. So if you go to the link that I gave you earlier, there is a search box for country. So you can type in Philippines, and there will be 22 herbaria that can be found in the Philippines. So as I've said, these are the herbarium code, the institution where you can find the herbaria, their location, and then their number of specimens. So in this first sheet, as you can see, the National Museum has the most number of collection. So to continue, so we have here Kahoop in this table, and we rank as the second herbaria or herbarium, which has the most number of collection. So in the Philippines alone, we have approximately 500,000 specimens of plants. This is still considered a small herbaria, as most of them holds less than 100 specimens, except for Philippine National Herbarium. Now let's go to the Botanical Herbarium. As you've seen in the list earlier, CAHOOP stands for College of Agriculture Herbarium University of the Philippines. It was founded in 1951, and our collection is housed at the Institute of Biological Sciences. That's Wing C, 3rd floor, room 329, if you want to visit us. So last anniversary, we launched the MNH Botanical Herbarium database. So here's the link if you want to watch it again. So this is a 10-minute video presentation of the Botanical Herbarium database process. And as of 2022, this was presented earlier by Mr. John Dexter Lumibao. So we have approximately 75,000 specimens based on our record book. And for bryophytes, we have approximately 10,000 for pteridophytes. Since we already completed the inventory of the pteridophytes, so we have 3,005 specimens, mounted specimens. And then for seed plants, so we have gymnosperms and angiosperms, we have approximately 62,000 specimens. For the number of specimens database, so we haven't started with bryophytes. We have 1,169 for pteridophytes, and we have 13,824 specimens for seed plants. For the specimens imaged, We have completed imaging our pteridophytes collection. For our seed plants, we have 12,859 image. And for the data published, we have 1,998 records. When I say published, we publish it on our MNH website. So it was also earlier discussed by Mr. Florante Cruz. You can look at our MNH website page and look for the MNH Botanical Herbarium database. So may mga search box po doon na pwede nyo hanapin yung inyong concern. So kung per year po yung concern nyo or per collector or per province, pwede nyo pong ma-check yun doon. Okay, for the number of specimen deposited, per percentage po ito. So kanina ay actual number. So this one is percentage. So per bryophytes alone, we have 13%. Pteridophytes, we have 4%. And for seed plants, we have 83%. Okay, so before I start with this topic, so when we started with the Botanical Herbarium database, so I thought madali lang mag-database or mag-digitize kasi andyan na naman yung collection. So akala ko lang no, i-encode mo lang yung herbarium label na nasa herbarium sheet and then picturean mo siya and then maipapublish mo na siya at ma-access na po kung sino man yung gusto mag-access. But in reality, hindi po pala ganun mag-publish ng data. So hindi kamot may herbarium na po tayo na may collection, pwede na po natin ito ma-publish agad-agad. So bakit ko na-mention to? So let's discuss first what is a collections management system. So a collections management system is a methodology, often but not always based on software. So it's used by the collection staff of an institution to organize, control, and manage collections objects by tracking information about and related to those objects. So para sa akin, akala ko pag database, online lang to. So nung na-discuss to sa iDigBio Digitization Academy, yung collection management system pala, nag-start pa siya dun sa logbook na ginagamit natin. And then we use the spreadsheets, and then we have relational databases. So sabi dito ni Casper, conceiving an herbarium database is a fundamental step to entering the digital world. So kung logbook pa rin yung mga ginagamit ng ibang herbaria dito sa Philippines, wag po tayong problema na baka hindi pa tayo nagde-database. So actually hindi po. So part ang logbook ng CMS. Okay? So ito pong picture na to, ito yung accumulated logbook namin sa Botanical Herbarium. So we already have 19 logbooks po. So kumpleto po lahat to, wala na po tayong masisingitan dito. Ito na pong pinakahuli yung bago naming logbook. And then since we started with the database, I think before we have this file maker, but unfortunately hindi ko na po kasi siya ma-open. So kaya medyo natagalan din kaming mag-start ng paggamit ng ganito. So nag-start po ako sa spreadsheet kasi una, ito yung available talaga. So yung computer na gamit ko, computer na gamit nung kasama ko sa herbarium, parehas kami na may MS Excel. So meron ding Google Sheets. So eto, pwede namin magamit anytime. And then through the help of Mr. Florante Cruz, nagkaroon kami ng free access database. So ito po yung Caspio. Okay. So for the record book, so may pros and cons po yan. No? For the record book, ito, tested by time, ang hard document talaga, pwede mo siyang ma-transfer kung sino man yung mga susunod na mag-handle ng herbarium. So this is a hard document, but kung anong nakasulat dito, I cannot just correct it anytime. So kung ano po nakasulat na dyan, fix na po, and non-expandable entries. So kung ang nasa logbook lang po namin na yung accession number, scientific name, family name, date collected, collector, field number, or collector's number, and place collected. Hanggang dun lang po yung record natin. Wherein sa spreadsheet, bukod sa readily available po siya, expandable yung entries. Ang downside naman po nito, pag na hit ko lang yung delete button. So goodbye file or goodbye data. For the free access database naman, we have free and paid software. So para lang po yung YouTube, merong free, merong premium. Syempre, pag free, merong commercial. Pag paid, tuloy-tuloy po yung ating pakikinig sa YouTube. The same with this software. So yung free, readily available siya, pero limited lang din yung pwede natin gawin. Yung paid software naman po, madami tayong pwedeng gawin, yun lang, we have to pay the price. So may mga sample free, ito po yung mga example ng software na pwedeng gamitin. I think hindi lang po ito sa botanical collection, pwede rin pong gamitin to sa iba. So you have your BRAMS, your Specify, your Systax, and your Herbar. And madami pa po talagang software na pwedeng gamitin. So pwede po natin silang itap and request for ano pong tawag dito? A request for them. So another issue when data structure does not have a pattern, which makes integrating database difficult. So nakita nyo bakit bumaba yung na-publish namin. Kasi during that time, pag may isa lang figure or isa lang mali dun sa data sheet mo, minsan naapektuhan na yung buong data. So we have to figure out ano yung isang mali na yun. So meron ako ditong nakita last time, yung date, kulang lang siya ng isang digit. So 19-0 blank. So naapektuhan na po niya yung database sa di pala yung database, yung na-publish namin na data sa MNH website. So yung search box po doon, nawala siya. So dahil lang sa isang digit. So another one is automatic and semi-automatic quality control of data become useful. And then as Sir Philip mentioned, so the Darwin Core is a global standards were created to solve interoperability issue. So etong Darwin Core, ginagamit po talaga ito kasi standard po yung data dito. So what is a digitization workflow? According to Nelson, it's a sequence of tasks that are performed in order to create digital information that characterize individual specimens. So we have here yung mga ating encoders, and then meron po dito yung ating imaging station. So wala pa po dito yung picture nung actual na nagpa-process ng data. So again, you can check it on our MNH Botanical Herbarium database video. For the task cluster, I'm so happy na nauna po yung two presenters, si Tex and si Sir Philip. According to Nelson, ito yung mga suggested task clusters. So we have the pre-digitization, curation, and staging, specimen image capture, specimen image processing, electronic data, georeferencing specimen data. So pagbalik-balik na rin man po itong mga activities na to, ito po yung essential for doing the digitization. So yung pre-digitization, curation, and staging, I think ito yung part na malaki yung oras, hindi lang oras, pati yung technical knowledge na kailangan ng hindi lang nung MNH staff, pati po nung curators. So dito po kasi tayo nagtatagal pag kulang yung information, pag damage yung specimen, pag di-updated yung labels na nasa herbarium sheet. Okay. Now, I want to invite our audience kung gusto niyo mag-participate. So makinig lang po tong sa part na to. Meron tayong interaction mamaya, ano? So here we have the field label. So usually sa botanical herbarium, ito po yung nasa upper left side ng ating specimen. And then we have here herbarium label. So ito naman yung nasa lower right side ng ating specimen. And then we have this annotation slip. So minsan nasa itaas po to, minsan naan dito. So wala naman pong standard protocol kung saan to inilalagay nung nag-annotate. Pero may isa pong herbarium, usually kung andito po yung herbarium label, sa taas po nun. So ibig sabihin yung nasa pinakataas, yun po yung recent annotation slip. Okay? So okay lang po ba makuha yung participation nyo? Okay. So sabi ko nga kanina, ito yung annotation slip, ito yung field label, at ito yung herbarium label. So ito yung itinatype namin at sinusulat sa logbook at sa Excel sheet. Yan. Sige po. My question is, where is this specimen collected? Yan. Please type your answer in our chat box. Oh, wow. Si Sir JC got the first correct answer. So it's in Mount Makiling. Okay. Okay, Kuya Flor. Nauna daw si Kuya Flor. So si Sir JC po, our former director, got the correct answer. That's Mount Makiling. Okay, para po dun sa iba, pabilisan po ito, no? Bawal taga-MNH. Okay, bawal daw po taga-MNH sumagot. Para po to sa non-MNH staff. Okay, when is this specimen collected? Can you type your answer? When is this specimen collected? Okay. Hazel Scott, ang bilis ng typing skill ni Hazel. So, this was collected last August 13, 1968. So, Hazel Scott, yung price mo, may price po to. Oh, advice daw to ni Ma'am Annalie. Dahil advice ka ni Ma'am Annalie, ang premium mo po dito, punta ka po sa Botanical Herbarium. So, nandun naman po yung location. Meron pa po tayo ditong 60,000 specimens na kailangang encode. Kaya, tulungan mo kami, Miss Hazel, since ang bilis po na mamatay. Okay. Now, oh, thank you, Hazel. So, happy to help. According to Hazel. Okay, now, let's proceed with accession number and collection number. So, usually, Kuya Flor, wala pa. Tsaka hindi na to part ng question. So, ang accession number versus collection number. So, minsan, dito po kasi nagkakatalo din. Minsan, napapagpalit yung accession number sa collection number. Or minsan, dito sa herbarium sheet, merong number na nakalagay. So, akala nila, yun yung collection number. So, okay. Yung accession number, ito po ay unique sa isang herbarium. So, etong specimen na to, ang accession number niya po sa aming specimen, o sa entry namin, ito po ay pang 23,000. Grabe. Natawa naman ako kay Sir Lit. Si ano daw po to, Michael G. Price, 23,450 per. Ang sipag naman pong collector ni Sir Price, pang 23,000 na to. Okay, ito po yung accession number, unique to sa CAHOOP. So yung entry nito sa aming logbook ay pang 23,454. And then for the collection number, so swerte po tayo kasi itong specimen na to ay may collection number. So unique naman po ito sa collector. So si Sir Price, MG Price, pang 575 niya po ito sa kanyang collection. So, okay, wala po tayong pa-quiz dito kahit po may sagot na kayo. Joke. Okay, so let's proceed. So yung workflow po, workflow task varies based on project demand. So kagaya po kanina na sa discussion ni Sir Philip, so may certain group po sila na digitize at na-publish sa GBIF. So, the same with Dex Lumibaw. So, madami po kasing collections ang MNH. So, ang kanya pong database naman ay ang Zoological Museum. And then yung type of collection. So, ano bang unahin natin? Yung bang ating type specimens or yung ating general collection? And then, we have the staff availability. So, ilan po ba yung staff na mag-encode? Ilan po ba yung staff na mag-image? Ilan po ba yung staff na papublish? So, ang sagot po dyan, madami. So, hindi po to one-man team. So, dapat madami po talagang involved sa project nito. And then, for the equipment, for example, nakita nyo, may 200 collection lang. Dapat po ba tayong bumili ng high-end scanner? Or doon naman po sa sobrang daming collection like the National Museum, kailangan ba nila ng scanner? Kung kailangan nila ng scanner, ilang scanner po yung kailangan nila? Or mas gusto po nila ay yung DSLR camera lang yung iset up nila. So yung space, ito sasabihin ko na po sa inyo, simula po nang nag-digitize kami, kahit magkakatabi lang po kami, minsan hindi na kami magkita-kita kasi natatambakan na po ng specimen yung nag-encode, natatambakan na po ng specimen yung i-image. And then for the facilities, meron kaming nabisita na may space talaga designated for digitization. And then the institutional goals. So number 1 priority to, yung institutional goals. Okay, so malapit na po tayo matapos. Andito na tayo sa opportunities. Diba sabi ko nga po sa inyo kanina, akala ko when we started this project, encode, sulat, encode, picture, published. So, di po pala ganun. Okay? So, for research po, kanina na-discuss ni Sir yung BIFA 6. So, I was involved naman po as a project staff sa BIFA 5. So, ang project title naman po nun ay Digitization and Mobilization of Regional Heritage Biological Specimens of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Museum of Natural History, Part 1. So I think our project leader here is Dr. Gonzalez, and we are one of his project staff. And then for the UPLB Basic Research Funded Project entitled Species Distribution and Plant Diversity Analysis of Mount Makiling from Digitized Collection of UPLB Museum of Natural History. So ang original project leader po dito, ang aming former coordinator for linkages, Mr. Jeremy Carlo Naredo. Yung alam po, naka-study leave siya. So kaya tinransfer po niya sa akin yung study leadership. So ilan lang po ito sa mga research na na-implement because of digitizing our collection. And as I've mentioned, pag binuksan mo talaga yung herbarium sheets, madami ka pa po talagang possible research na pwedeng makuha. Actually, hindi nga lang po research eh. Nagulat na lang din kami kasi yung aming collection ay from the general collection, meron pa po pala pwedeng maging type specimen doon. So yung iba, bumisita and ginagawa nilang isotype yung aming mga herbarium collection. So yun, buti pa yung aming mga specimen na po-promote from general collection to type collection. Okay, so naging opportunity din po to since last year ay hindi po face-to-face ang aming internship. So online lang po. Naging opportunity din po to para ma-share namin sa mga undergrad students. So under naman po to ng MNH internship program, yung aming digitization project. And as well as sa student assistantship. So sa UPLB naman po to, no? Yung student assistantship program ng UPLB. So ito po yung first online interns namin from UPLB po. I think yung iba po dito ay graduate na. And then, hello Camille, si Miss Camille, si Anya Seo. And then, we also have interns from PUP. So, ang kanila pong intern supervisor ay si Ma'am May. So, si Aji, si Jacob, si Bea, and si Alisa. And of course, yung ating mga SA, si Gerard, and si Kurt. So, naging venue po ito. Di po naging hindrance yung hindi pagkakaroon ng physical interaction sa internship as SA, but naging opportunity pa po ito sa kanila. And then, yung aming MNH volunteer program din po ay tumulong din sa pag-digitize ng aming collection. So, binigyan ko siya ng short message or impact yung sa pag-volunteer niya. So, ako pa ata po yung nagulat sa sinulat niya. Kasi sabi niya dito, I even discovered my late grandfather's contribution to the herbarium in the 1950s. Siguro pati siya nagulat din kasi habang binabrowse niya yung collection, nakita niya, ay, lolo ko to ah. So at least nakita pa rin niya yung collection ng kanyang grandfather. And then gusto ko rin yung sinabi niya dito na the UPLB MNH taught me about the foundations laid by the past, building the present, and paving the way for the future. So this is Miss Sofia Dulay. So she just graduated this year. One of our volunteers sa Botanical Herbarium po. And then, nadagdagan po yung ating kaalaman. So, nakasali po tayo sa iba't ibang capacity building or training. So, last year, tama po ba last year ito? October 2022, so 2 years ago, nagkaroon po tayo ng specialized training on the use of species encoder. And then last month nga po, I just completed the ID Bio Digitization Academy. So, ito po yung introduction to biodiversity specimen digitization. So, ang mga pulong-abala po dyan ay sila Miss Erica Krimmel, Austin Mas, and si Lauren Cohen. So, medyo matagal din po itong training na to. Ang pagkakaiba lang nito, umaga sa kanila, gabi dito. So, gising po tayo from 11 to 3 a.m. just to attend the training. I think the same with JJ, yung sa GBIF project, mas matagal yung training nila. I think it took him months to get a badge. So, yun. Additional skill, additional knowledge. So, may ma-share na naman po ulit tayo sa ating interns and volunteers. And then, eto, efficient collection management. I-narrate ko lang yung experience ko dito no, nung first time ko sa MNH, sa herbarium. Kahit matagal na po tayong familiar sa scientific name, siguro hindi naman po lahat ay nagkakaroon ng opportunity makapagtrabaho, nakakabisita, but not to work in an herbarium. So, ang first task ko, during the time of Ate Ann or Mary Ann Cajano, para din po sa hindi pa nakakakilala, pinahanap niya sa cabinet, nakalimutan ko lang po yung scientific name, pinahanap niya sa akin yung collection na yon. So, since ako, hindi naman ako familiar sa arrangement, hindi sa isa ko talaga yung cabinet. Parang sabi ko, teka, matatapos ko na ata to, di ko pa nakikita yung pinapahanap sa akin ni Ate Ana. So, minsan ganun, kung wala kang efficient collection management na system, talagang it will take you time para mahanap yung just one specimen. And another thing, I just want to share this picture to you as well. Kasi nung nagkaroon nga ng pandemic, so I encoded the logbook. Kasi hindi ko naman maiuwi yung cabinet sa herbarium. So, pwede ko lang maiuwi ay logbook. So, sabi ko, umpisahan ko sa logbook 1. So, etong background photo ko, ito yung aming logbook 1. So, yung first na na-encode ko dito ay si Frank Gates. So, habang in-encode ko siya, may Frank Gates, may FC Gates, may basta hindi consistent yung name niya. So, basta ako tinatype ko lang siya. So, siguro pag finilter ko, 3 or 4 na pangalan yung Frank Gates. And then this year, may nag-email sa amin and sabi niya, so eto po ha, yung sa mga nag-a-access, hindi lamang po to para sa students, sa researchers, sa mga taxonomists, even yung family ng ating mga previous collectors, they want to visit the collection of their grandfather, their father. So, 3 na po yung na-experience ko na ganyan. And siguro kaya special to si Miss Marilyn Gates kasi yung collection na tinitingnan niya is as early as 1900s. So, collection pa talaga siya ng great-grandfather niya, which is 1903 to 1913, yung mga specimens na na-encode namin. So, hanggang bumisita siya dito and her family is very generous because he gave a hindi ko na sabihin small, but I think it's a generous amount from their family just to maintain and keep the collection of Frank Gates. And then, na-mention na din po to ni Sir Philip, availability of reliable online resources. Yes, we have issues once we published our resources, but think of the people, the students who will benefit from the data that we are going to publish, diba? Okay. Now for the challenges, andyan pa po ba kayo? Gusto niyo po ba ng quiz? Okay. Wala pa po akong quiz, last na yung kanina. So for the challenges, na-mention na din po ito ni Dex kanina. So sabi dito, collection data sets usually have a lot of erroneous information and many problems. And then misspelled scientific names, lack of reliable identification, and incomplete locality data. So, madami pa po to kung sa challenges po talaga yung pag-uusapan. Madami tong list na to. Pero, ito na lang po yung ibibigay ko based po dun sa herbarium sheet na papakita ko dito. So, check, may accession number, may specimen tayo, pero the current state of this specimen is not good. So, damaged na po siya. And dito talaga tatumbling at sasakit ang ulo na mag-e-encode. So, kung makikita nyo kanina yung herbarium and field label, so iba yung itsura niya. So, ito, mostly ay handwritten po, no? So, sa date collected, magkaiba yung date of collection na nasa left, iba din yung date of collection sa nasa right. So, ito po ay September, yung nasa right, and then October, yung nasa left. And even yung collector, wala dito sa left, meron namang collector's name dito sa right. So, yun po yung mga data na na-encounter namin. Kaya din minsan bumabagal kami sa aming trabaho. Yun po. And then minsan yung locality, may na-encode pa nga kami dyan. Ito yung dating province. So ngayon, wala na yung province na yun. Na-combined na siya. So even yung mga political boundaries natin, nagbabago din through time. Since fix yung ating herbarium sheet, di naman po natin mababago to. So ang pwede nating i-update ay yung ating database or yung ating Excel sheet or yung ating dataset. Okay, another slide for challenges is how to capture specimen data fast enough without great cost and to digitize the entire collection. So para po sa akin, hindi ito pabilisan. Hindi ito quantity over quality. So ang ano po natin when we digitize ay yung quality. Kasi once we publish ito, mababasa po to ng public, and if erroneous yung erroneous po yung data na na-publish natin. So ang nabigay natin sa kanila ay wrong information. So dito pa lang po sa pre-curatorial stage, salain na po natin yung data. Ano po? And then software for image improvement. Ito kailangan po talaga dun sa mga hindi magaling sa DSLR, no? So kailangan natin ng magandang pang-edit talaga. Pero ang edit lang po kasi na ginagawa namin sa herbarium sheet ay crop lang po talaga. So hindi namin pwedeng i-enhance or linisin yung aming sheet. So pipicturean po namin siya as is. And then technical support for databases, and then transfer and storage of big data. And then we really need this pool of taxonomies and curators may not be readily available. So one way to partially solve this is to publish images online. And then we also have limited equipment. So kung gusto talaga naming bilisan, I think 1 or 2 would be enough. But kasi pag nag-purchase ka, and then yun lang yung yun lang yung image mo. So sayang naman din yung na-purchase mo, no? So you have to stick kung isa lang yung imaging station mo, so stick to it, okay? And then your trained staff. So dito kasi parang sa amin sa Botanical Herbarium, so ako pa lang din yung nagkakaroon ng access, for example, sa ID Bio. Although we share yung mga possible capacity building training sa aming staff team po, sa MNH staff. Okay, for the perspective, so second to the last slide na po to. So making herbaria occurrence information available through biodiversity platforms must be a continuous program so the data can be more easily accessed by the scientific community and policymakers. And another one, digital world will increase opportunities for collaborative projects. So dalawa pa lang po yung research na i-share ko sa inyo. And there's still more possible research na pwede pong makuha out of the digital data that we have. And lastly, if it is not published, it does not exist. So kung may hinahanap kayong certain publication, or certain herbarium sheet, and it was published na deposited siya sa Kahoot, and if you will check our database at kung wala po talaga siya doon, unfortunately, hindi po talaga na turnover yun sa aming collection or sa herbarium, sa MNH herbarium. And of course, again, I would like to acknowledge the following people: Mr. Florente Cruz, Professor Emeline Barion Dupo, Mr. Jeremy Carlo Naredo, John Calvin Clarete, Eugene Logatok, Winstor Abasolo, our former museum technician, Ate Ann Cajano. At syempre, hindi ko na po iisa-isahin yung aming mga collectors, taxonomists, former curators, students, and researchers. Maraming salamat po. And happy 46th anniversary UPLB MNH.